Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. We grown, right? So let's not act brand new. This ain't about no cheap thrill. This is about connection. Deep, real, soul-touching connection. I'm talking about the kind of moment that makes a man look at you and say, she's it. I don't need nobody else. Let me tell you something real, something they don't talk about on TV or in magazines. See, when a woman speaks while she's with her man in that most vulnerable, intimate moment, those words, they hit different. I'm not just talking about sweet nothings or moaning his name. I'm talking about soul-level communication. I'm talking about saying something that doesn't just echo in his ears, but sticks in his spirit. That right there, that's what separates a temporary thrill from a lifelong bond. Because words, especially in that moment, go past the skin. They dive straight into the soul. You see, ladies, most men have been touched, but not all men have been spoken to in that moment of closeness. Not like that. Not where a woman looks him in the eye and uses her voice to build him up while he's at his most exposed. And don't get it twisted. Yes, he might seem confident, strong, bold. He might be putting in work and making you feel good. But even in all that strength, there's a little boy in there still wondering if he's enough. Still wondering if he's doing it right. Still hoping you see him for more than just his body. That's why what you say when he's inside you, it matters. It matters because it's one of the only moments where his walls are down, his ego's quiet, his mind ain't on bills, work, or who liked his post. For that little window of time, his world is just you. And if you speak into that moment with purpose, girl, you're not just making love, you're creating loyalty. And I mean that, real loyalty. That type that don't even look around at other women because he already got what no one else can give him, peace inside, passion. Let me give you an example. You whisper something like, you make me feel so safe, or nobody sees me like you do. Now that might sound simple, but in that moment, it becomes powerful. Why? Because you're not just talking about his body, you're talking about his worth. You're giving him a sense of purpose even while y'all are wrapped up in pleasure. And baby, when you do that, you make that man feel like he belongs, like he matters. And a man who feels seen like that, he ain't out here entertaining no DMs or looking for the next body. Because why would he? You already gave him something better. And here's the truth. A man can get sex anywhere. That's just facts. But intimacy mixed with admiration, that's rare. That's golden. That's the kind of thing that hits different. That's what keeps him coming back, not just to your bed, but to your spirit. That's when you ain't just his lover, you're his peace. See, you don't need to scream from the rooftops or put on a performance. Just lean in, let your eyes talk, let your tone soften, and tell him something true, something only you could say, because no other woman knows him like you do, not in that moment. And if you've done your emotional homework, if you paid attention to things that matter to him, the things he's proud of and the things he hides, then you already know what to say. You already hold the key to his soul. You just need to use it. Say something like, I believe in you, or with you I feel like I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. That ain't poetry. That's purpose. That's partnership. That's the kind of thing that'll have him holding you tighter, breathing you in deeper, wondering how he ever lived without you. Because here's the bottom line, ladies. Your words don't just stay in the moment. If you say the right thing while he's inside you, it'll replay in his mind long after he's left your arms. It'll become his comfort, his reminder, his motivation. That's not game. That's power. That's feminine strength in its rawest, most beautiful form. Let me break this down for you, real simple. Everybody focuses on the physical part of intimacy. What she wore, how she moved, what he did, how he looked. But see, that ain't the stuff that builds a man's heart connection. That ain't what makes him ride or die for one woman. You know what does? The right words in the right moment. I'm talking about during that intimate, personal, skin-on-skin kind of closeness. Because when the body's wide open, the soul is too. And if a woman uses that moment to speak to his heart, to his purpose, to his inner world, she just did something no other woman has probably ever done for him. That's the kind of thing that don't fade. That's what sticks. That's what burns a memory into his spirit. Most women don't even know that the most powerful thing in that room ain't their body, it's their voice. It's the way she says, "I'm proud of you," when he's in a place of surrender. Or the way she whispers, "You're all I need," when he's got all of her. That ain't just sexy, that's sacred. Because now you're not just making love, you're making a connection he can't shake. Ladies, let me give you some truth about men that a lot of them won't say out loud. Men want more than just pleasure. Yeah, they love it, they crave it, but what they really want is to feel validated, especially in that most raw and intimate space. When you're wrapped around him and you speak straight to the man he's trying to become, girl, you just gave him a high no drug can match. That moment right there becomes unforgettable. He'll crave that from you over and over, because it wasn't just sex, it was acceptance. You see, words are energy. And energy during intimacy, that's like writing in permanent ink on a man's soul. That's what keeps him up at night thinking about you. That's what makes him block numbers, ignore other women, and say, "I'm good, I got mine." Not because you did some wild position or wore some outfit, though that's all good, but because you saw him in his raw state and you didn't flinch, you affirmed him, and not with noise, but with meaning. You tell a man, "You make me feel safe," while he's deep inside you, and you've just made him feel like he's enough, like all that effort he puts in, working, protecting, providing, it ain't in vain. You tell him, "I've never felt this close to someone," and it ain't about the body anymore. You're now in his memory bank for life. That voice of yours just became the soundtrack to his deepest emotion. And you best believe he ain't gonna find that just anywhere. Let's be honest, in today's world, people chase temporary highs. They scroll past real love for likes and quick thrills. But if you wanna be the woman he can't replace, you gotta go deeper. You gotta say something that shows you're not just there for the pleasure, you're there for the person. Because every man's got a version of himself that he's afraid ain't enough. And when you see that version, when you speak to it with kindness and strength, in that exact moment, he's letting go. That's healing. That's love on a level that most folks never get to feel. So don't underestimate your words. Don't think your power is only in the way you look or move. Your true power as a woman, especially in those intimate moments, is in what you say. It's in the tone, the truth, and the timing. That's how you touch his soul, not just his body. And when a man's soul gets touched like that, He's not just satisfied, he's changed. And trust me, ain't no man out here forgetting the woman who changed him with her voice while she had his heart wide open. Let me go ahead and drop some truth on y'all tonight. See, women often assume that men are just these strong, unshakable creatures who don't need emotional safety. But that's one of the biggest lies society ever told. Men crave emotional safety just like women do. They just got real good at hiding it. From the time a boy is young, he's taught not to cry, not to show weakness, not to talk about fear. He's taught to be the rock, the provider, the one who takes hits without flinching. And guess what happens? That boy grows up into a man who still wants comfort, still needs support, still craves connection, but he don't always know how to ask for it. Now let me tell you when all that armor comes off when a man is making love. That's one of the rare moments when he stops performing for the world and just feels. He ain't wearing the mask in that moment. His guard is down. And baby, that's your chance to give him something deeper than pleasure. You can give him peace. You can give him that safe space he don't even realize he's been longing for. And all it takes, the right words in the right moment. See, when a man is physically close, he's emotionally open. He just may not know how to say it. But if you as a woman know how to read that energy, how to feel that vulnerability, then you know what to say. And if you speak to him not just with your body, but with your heart, you make him feel emotionally safe. That is rare, that is powerful, that is unforgettable. You say to that man, you don't always have to be strong with me, or I've got you right here. And let me tell you something, that man will remember that forever, not because of what y'all were doing, but because of how you made him feel while doing it. You touched a place inside him no one else has, a place most people don't even know exists. And you didn't just touch it, you respected it. You nurtured it. You gave it permission to exist. Emotional safety for a man is being able to be soft without being judged. It's being able to be weak without being dismissed. It's being able to break without being called broken. And most men, they don't get that anywhere. Not at work, not with their boys, sometimes not even with their own families. So if a woman shows up and gives him that safety, in her words, especially in those intimate, vulnerable moments, she becomes home to him. Not just a lover, not just a girlfriend. She becomes a sanctuary. And when a man finds a woman who feels like home, baby, he stops looking. He stops wondering what else is out there. Because he knows ain't nobody else gonna see him like she does. Ain't nobody else gonna hold him emotionally and physically the way she does. And I ain't talking about just holding him in bed. I'm talking about holding his fears, his secrets, his truth. That kind of woman is 1 in a million. And once he's found her, his soul is tight. Don't ever underestimate how powerful it is to be the person your man doesn't have to pretend around. When he's inside you and you look him in the eye and say, you don't have to be perfect here. You just gave him permission to be a man and a human. You gave him something every strong man silently wishes for, rest. He'll never forget it. And he'll never find it the same way anywhere else. Because what you said didn't just echo in his ear, it settled in his spirit. And that's where loyalty begins. That's where real love takes root. Let me tell y'all something most people ain't got the courage to say. You can't build loyalty with just a good time. You build it with vulnerability. That's the real glue in relationships. And I know some folks hear that word and start getting nervous, especially the fellas. See, society done train men to think being vulnerable makes them weak. Like showing emotion or needing love is something to be ashamed of. But let me tell you, vulnerability ain't weakness. It's bravery. It's raw, it's real. And when a man lets you see him in that space, when he gives you that level of access, especially during intimacy, that's a sacred thing. That's when you got him open. And what you do with that moment can either build the bond or break it. Now look, when two people are making love, there's more going on than just bodies moving. There's energy being exchanged. There's truth being revealed. That's when all the fake stuff, all the fronting, all the mask, they drop. That man right there in that moment, he ain't your Instagram self. He ain't the cool guy on the block. He's just him. And if he trusts you enough to be in that space to let his guard down while he's touching you, holding you, loving you, then you better recognize the opportunity in front of you. That's where you step in as a woman, not just with your body, but with your presence, with your words, with your emotional intelligence. That's when you whisper something that makes him feel safe. Something that lets him know, hey, you don't have to carry all this by yourself. You might say, I love the way you take care of everything, but I got you now. Or you don't always have to be in control. I'm right here with you. Let me tell you something. Those words, they'll echo in his soul long after the moment is over. Because when a man is vulnerable and you make him feel secure instead of judged, you've created a space he won't want to leave. Not just because of the sex, but because of the freedom. You gave him a place to exhale, a place to feel seen and not criticized. That's rare. That's the kind of energy that makes a man rethink everything. All of a sudden, all the other women don't even look the same. They don't feel the same because now he ain't chasing beauty, he's craving safety. You got to understand, every man is out here battling something. Maybe it's stress, pressure, expectations, childhood scars, failures he don't talk about. And when he's with you in that deep, private, physical moment and he hears words that make him feel like he's not alone in the fight, that's life-changing. You become his peace, not his chaos, not his critic, but his calm. And trust me, that'll stick with him. It don't matter how good you look if he can't be real around you. But if you make him feel like he don't have to be perfect, like he's enough just as he is, that's something his soul will remember. He'll think about that long after the night is over. Long after the lights go out, that moment of vulnerability you handled with grace, that's when he knew. That's when he felt something deeper than lust. He felt loyalty. So when you're in that space together, don't be afraid to lean into it. Use your voice not just to express pleasure, but to deliver presence. Say the thing that touches the man behind the muscles, behind the bravado, behind the confidence. That's how you turn physical intimacy into emotional devotion. That's how vulnerability turns into loyalty. That's how you become unforgettable, not just in his body, but in his being. Now, let me tell you something that'll change the way you look at intimacy forever. If you want to really connect with a man, truly get in his heart, not just his arms, you got to learn how to speak to his purpose, not just his pleasure. See, pleasure is temporary. It's in the moment, it feels good, but it fades. Purpose, now that's eternal. That stays with a man, that echoes in his decisions, his loyalty, and the way he values you. Most women spend time trying to please a man physically, and that's important, no doubt. But the women who leave a mark, the ones he can't stop thinking about, the ones he stays faithful to, those are the ones who speak into his vision, into his dreams, into his manhood. They don't just hype him up in public, they build him up in private, especially when they're close, especially in that intimate space when his body's connected to yours and his heart is more open than he'll ever admit out loud. That moment right there when he's inside you and he's vulnerable and trusting, that's not just about sex. That's a doorway into his spirit. And if you speak into that space with wisdom and love, that's the kind of experience a man never forgets. That's the kind of connection that makes him say, she gets me, she sees me, she believes in me. And when a man feels that from a woman, especially in a moment of raw closeness, he doesn't want to go looking for anybody else because he's found everything he needs in you. You might be thinking, Steve, what does speaking to his purpose even mean? It means you say things that remind him of who he is, who he's becoming, and what he's capable of. It means in the middle of pleasure, you slip in something powerful. Like, you're going to do great things, I feel it. Or, you the kind of man the world needs. You see what that does? That doesn't just turn him on, it turns him off. It fills the space inside him that sex alone can't reach. Most men don't hear that kind of talk. They hear what they do wrong. They hear where they fall short. But very few women take the time to pour into his potential while they're loving him physically. And let me tell you something. When a woman does that, it leaves a spiritual imprint. That man will carry those words into his next job interview, his next hard decision, his next storm. And when he does, he's not thinking about just the moment y'all shared. He's thinking about you. He's remembering how you saw greatness in him when he wasn't even sure of it himself. And that's how you win a man's loyalty. Not by trying to compete with other women, not by changing your body or putting on a show, but by connecting with his soul when he's most open and reminding him that he's got something powerful inside him. Speak to his grind, speak to his pain, speak to the places he hides from the world. Tell him he's more than what he's been through. Tell him he's already worthy, not because of his title, his money, or his past, but because of the man he chooses to be right now with you. When you do that, you don't just give him a good night, you give him a reason to come home, a reason to stay grounded, a reason to rise. And that's more powerful than anything you could wear or say outside the bedroom. That's deeper than desire. That's destiny. Because at the end of the day, real love speaks not just to what's happening now, but to what's possible later. And if you know how to speak to a man's purpose in his most intimate moments, you'll never have to worry about being replaced. You'll be irreplaceable. Let me tell y'all something that most folks overlook when it comes to keeping a man's heart, not just his body. It's two simple things: confidence and connection. That's the formula right there. It ain't about tricks. It ain't about playing games. It's about knowing your worth and showing up fully in the moment. Because when a woman walks into intimacy, knowing exactly who she is and connects with her man on a level that's deeper than flesh, that man ain't going nowhere. He might have seemed pretty, but he ain't never seen powerful until he's seen a confident woman who knows how to connect from the soul. Now, I need you to understand this. Confidence doesn't mean being loud or flashy. It means being secure in yourself, secure in your skin, your voice, your presence. It means you ain't begging for love, you're bringing it. You're not afraid to express what you feel, not afraid to say what's on your heart in the moment. And when you're with your man in that close, vulnerable space, confidence becomes one of the sexiest, most powerful things you can offer. A confident woman makes a man feel chosen, not just accepted. And that right there, that turns an ordinary night into something unforgettable. But confidence alone ain't enough. You need connection. You need that emotional, spiritual link that makes the moment feel sacred, that makes him forget about the world outside. And when you've got both confidence and connection working at the same time, baby, that's the type of love that brands itself on a man's soul. That's the kind of experience he compares everyone else to, and no one ever measures up. Let me break it down for you. When you're in that moment with him and your body is saying yes, and your energy is open, speak into that. Don't hold back. Don't doubt yourself. Don't wonder if you're too much. A woman who knows how to confidently say, I love how you take care of me, or you make me feel so full, isn't just giving a compliment. She's creating a bond. She's letting him know that this isn't just about the physical, it's about the connection she feels on the inside. See, connection is what separates a moment from a memory. It's what turns a regular night into the night he replays in his head. And you know how that happens? You let him in. You let him see you, not just your body, but your heart. You share your truth. You hold eye contact. You speak his name like it matters. You move with intention. And most of all, you show him that he matters. Not just what he can do, but who he is. A man can sleep with a lot of women and never feel seen, but when a woman gives him her full presence, her attention, her truth, her confidence, that hits different. That's the kind of connection he can't explain to his boys. He just knows it felt like home. And let me tell you, when a man feels home in your presence and powerful in your energy, he's not just gonna stay, he's gonna protect it. He's gonna fight for it. Because men don't leave peace. They don't walk away from a woman who fills their soul and makes them feel like kings. So when you're in that space, when the bodies are close and the hearts are open, don't play small. Don't hold back the good stuff. Bring your confidence, bring your soul. Speak into that connection. Let your voice affirm what your body already knows. And I promise you, when you do that, he won't just remember the sex. He'll remember you. He'll remember how you made him feel in the deepest parts of himself. That's not just unforgettable. That's unshakable.